Beethoven's Seventh Symphony has been one of the favorite symphonies in the repertoire ever since its premiere. It was one of those pieces of his that was an immediate success, one of the crowning achievements of his glorious middle period. He composed it in 1811, 1812, when he was in his early 40s. He referred to as one of his best pieces, and I guess he's a pretty good authority. The first movement begins with a slow introduction in the classical style. The introduction itself is worth the price of admission. The amount of tension and energy Beethoven builds simply by running up and down the scale is just unbelievable. It demonstrates once again how much Beethoven can do with so little. When he gets into the allegro itself of the first movement, it's just full of dancing rhythms, a very dancing movement. In fact, Richard Wagner referred to that movement as the apotheosis of the dance. The second movement is an allegretto that is really the sound of a funeral march. And it's often played as a separate piece for memorials to mark the passing of important people. It alternates a funereal sort of march with a much lighter, consoling music, but has a tremendous cumulative power, unlike anything composed before that time. The third movement shows us Beethoven's sense of humor. It's such a bizarre, galumphing sort of dance. Musicians at that time really didn't know what to make of it. Even in its very expansive trio section, the slower music in the middle of a scherzo, you always feel a little bit off balance and a little bit afraid he's going to do something really bizarre, which of course he does toward the end of that scherzo. And the fourth movement should simply take the roof off the concert hall. There is more energy, more raw, primal energy bursting out in that movement than in any music composed by Beethoven or anyone else before that time. I remember as a child being so delighted by something that happened several times in that movement when the winds come to the fore. Beethoven was known for using woodwinds much more prominently than any other composer before that time. And it just sounds like a brass band is bursting out in the middle of the piece. I know that always made me laugh as a child. But at the end of this final movement, we hear the scales return from the introduction to the first movement. That very powerful tension building at the beginning of the first movement returns at the end of the last movement as a fulfillment of everything that's happened in the symphony. It's that sense Beethoven develops of hearing the entire symphony as a journey that gives it just a shattering power by the end.